You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello, today is Friday the 1st of November 2024, and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. Sorry I had quite a bit of time off there. I just wasn't doing any writing, and I probably should have come on and do what I normally do when I intend to take a break and just say, right, that's it, I'm taking a break, I'll be back on such and such a date. I should have done that, and I didn't, sorry. It's been, interesting time at work. So I've been, how can I put this? There is a cabin that I work in. I need to be quite generic here. There is a cabin that I work in that I was qualified to work in. But they have launched, the company I work for have launched a new training program that enhances the skills of the people who work in that cabin, creating a new qualification to work in that cabin so that eventually the old qualification will be phased out and people will only be able to work in there with the new qualification. And basically that's what I've spent the last 4 days doing, is getting that new qualification, which I now have. So I can continue to work in that cabin without naming the cabin. We're trying to be a bit generic. So yes, that all happened. Actually, no, the day before yesterday, I passed, and then yesterday I was actually flying, but weirdly on an aeroplane that doesn't have that cabin in it. So I wasn't able to do any practice. So yeah, that's good. And it was to save myself from having to drive 3 hours every day, because we had 4 days of training. And to save myself like 3+ hours in the car every day, I did stay locally in a hotel near the airport, just so that, in fact, it was very close. It was like literally 7 minutes walking distance from where we trained, so that was good. But that's all done, and I'm now on a month of leave. So they basically had too many crew for November, so they offered people the opportunity to take the month off. So I have done that. So I now, and unless, because I think they have a reserve clause where if suddenly there's a lot more crew needed than they had anticipated, then they reserve the right to call people back from the leave. But I mean, I'd be very unlucky if that happened. So in theory, I'm now not working until the 1st of December, and I'll know what I'm doing in a few days, because the December rosters will be published. I did put bids in. I've gone for Singapore, Sydney and Phoenix. Don't ask me why. No, it's a friend of mine who's at a university in Phoenix that I haven't seen sort of since the middle of the year. So it'd be nice to, if I get a Phoenix flight, to go out and visit her. And what's nice about Phoenix is it's just over the threshold for getting a second night. So it's not one of these US flights where we literally get 24 hours on the ground. We get 48, which obviously encompasses 2 local nights, which is rather pleasant. So yep, but I'll find out in about a week whether I've been successful in getting any of the stuff I've bid for in December. And so what's my plans for the rest of this month? Various bits and pieces. So those of you in the writing community may or may not have heard of a thing called NaNoWriMo, written NaNoWriMo, and it stands for National Novel Writing Month. And it's a writing scheme. It's originally started in America. You can go to NaNoWriMo.org and get information about how it works. But it basically, they have 3 events throughout the year, but the big one is to attempt to write the first 50,000 words of a new project in November. So both the English Hikikomori and Still Life started off as NaNoWriMo projects. And indeed, what I'm working on at the moment, Empress of the Trees, started as a NaNoWriMo project. But to give you an idea of how long I've been doing this book, I started it in NaNoWriMo, so I would have started it exactly 5 years ago today. So yeah, and I think I did rather well from memory. So the target is to try and write the 50,000 words. From memory, I wrote 60,000+ words. It was a really good start. And then obviously I'm now on I haven't got a word count because I've got all my chapters saved as separate files, but before I split them down, it was about 200,000 words, but I probably got rid of a few thousand in the edit. But then I've written some as well, so I would guess I'm on approximately 220,000 words now, but I don't know. That is a guess. It's not until I reassemble the files when I finish the first draft will I know the actual length, but it's a lot longer than anything else I've written. And so whilst the idea behind NaNoWriMo is to try and write start a new project, I'm actually going to use it to try and finish this project. So I was hoping to get stuff done before now. Last month I was hoping to get a couple of chapters done last month. I haven't. So basically, and I'm not that bothered if I finish it in the time or not. I will attempt to, because I do have time on my hands now. But my plan is to try and finish the first draft of Empress of the Trees by the end of this month. You'll have a fairly good idea quite quickly how it's going, because it basically means I need to write and edit roughly a chapter a week, because I have 3 chapters in the epilogue left to write. So, you will know within a few. If I'm struggling to write in a few days, then you will know it's not going to happen. But the thing is, I'm not going to push myself to write when my brain isn't the right place. Hopefully, I will have no stress over the next few weeks. So hopefully, I will be able to. But what I'm not going to do is put myself under pressure to do it. It'll happen organically, or it won't. Now, I haven't done any writing today. I had a very good lie-in, having had a few days of early starts and training and flying. And then 3 hours to get home yesterday, because I spent an hour and a half about 3 miles from the airport in this massive traffic jam due to an accident on the M25. I think that's possibly the worst commute I've ever had, actually, which was such a shame, because our flight, right, this is really unusual. So it's a short haul flight. We landed, so we left the airport at the other end on time. We didn't hold into Heathrow. We got a parking stand immediately, and we were on the main terminal building, so we didn't have to catch any trains to get to the main terminal building. We were already there. So I actually got to my car 45 minutes ahead of schedule, and then spent 90 minutes using the M25 as a car park. Anyway, so today my plans are, so I do have plans for the next few days, so it might be a bit slow to get started. So today my main plan is I'm meeting up with the NaNoWriMo group that I first went to 6 years ago. Probably not today, because I don't think I went on the 1st of August. But it's the NaNoWriMo group that I first met in November 2018. I'm meeting up with a few of them at about 4 o'clock today to hopefully do some writing. I'm also, and I will not say too much, but so T.G. Campbell, my friend who writes the Bow Street Society books, who I interviewed on one of the very, very early episodes of this podcast, has finished the first draft, her 7th book in the series, and I'm on her beta reading team. So today I get to find out what the book is called. She's given me some hints, but it's all secret, so I wouldn't be allowed to say on here anyway. And then obviously I've got to read it and give her feedback. So that's another thing I'll be doing this month. So yes, I'll be getting this book later today. It's not actually in book format; it's in manuscript format. But so I'm looking forward to receiving that, knowing the title. I might even try and. I won't say that then. I won't say that on here. I'll talk to her in person. But yeah, so there's all that going on today as well. Tomorrow is I'm actually going with Tani into a book fair in Chelsea in London. I don't know when we'll be back, so I don't know how much writing it's going to be feasible to do tomorrow. Sunday, I'm meeting up with a friend and we're going out probably somewhere in London. And then on Monday, I'm going to see Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast being recorded live. The guests are Nish Kumar, and I've forgotten who the other comedian is, but he's the slightly odd guy that used to do a lot of things like Mock the Week, and he does these very bizarre one-liners. It's not Tim Vine, it's the other one, the slightly odd, starey, mad one. I can't remember his name. I'll mention it in the next couple of days. So I'm going to see that. And I'm also toying with the idea, because I'm visiting my friend. Basically, I'm going to London for 3 days, solid. I'm catching the train in tomorrow, so I'll probably come back on the train there. But I'm toying with, on Sunday, maybe staying overnight Sunday and Monday and doing a few other bits and pieces in London whilst I'm there. So meet my friend, then check into whatever hotel, hostel, wherever I decide to stay over the night of the 3rd, go and see the Richard Herring thing on the Monday, and then stay overnight that night as well, so I'm going to rush back. I'll decide that over the next couple of days. So anyway, so today is, I'm going to call these podcasts, because obviously I have to call each podcast different things, and I've been calling them I'm going to call this, I'm going to try and do a podcast every day this month during NaNoWriMo month, and because that will hopefully encourage me to do a bit more writing. And hopefully I'm going to call them NaNoWriMo Day 1, NaNoWriMo Day 2 throughout the month, just to give you an idea. Just so I don't have to think up imaginative titles, basically. So that's sorry I've waffled on a bit, but as I haven't been here for a few days, so so that's what I'm doing over the next few days, and I will see you with an update at some point tomorrow, let you know what I did in terms of writing today and everything. All right, thank you very much, take care, see you soon. Fill your ears soon. Oh, that sounded weird, never mind. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.